The story about Isaac's blessing. Rebekah and Isaac asked God for a child. God gave them not one baby, but two twins. Jam! Rebekah could feel the babies pushing and pulling on each other inside of her. God, she prayed, why are my babies fighting? They're in a race to be born first, God answered. Your family will be different. Your younger son will be the leader of the older one. This was a surprise to Rebekah. The oldest child was usually the leader of all of the brothers and sisters. Wah! Isaac was born first. He was hairy and red. Wah! Jacob was born next. He had smooth skin. The race was so close that Jacob was born holding on to Esau's foot. Imagine that. Before long, the twins grew into men. They were very different. Esau was big and strong. Esau made Isaac very proud because he was a hunter. Jacob was smaller than Esau and very quiet. Rebekah loved that Jacob stayed around the home. When Isaac became old and blind, it was time to give his blessing to his oldest child, passing on the leadership of the family. Since Isaac couldn't see, he rubbed Esau's hairy arms to make sure he had the right son. Esau, he said, bring me dinner, and I will bless you. Rebekah was listening. Jacob, she whispered, hurry, cover your arms with hairy goat skins to fool your father. Rebekah remembered that God said Jacob would make a better leader for the family than Esau. So Jacob dressed up like Esau and brought Isaac dinner. The plan worked. Jacob tricked Isaac into making him the new leader of the family. How would you feel if you were tricked by your brother, as Esau was?
Today's Bible story is really hard to understand because it seems to be a story that's telling us about an important Bible family of Isaac and Rebekah who end up, Rebekah and her son Jacob end up tricking Isaac and Esau. So it looks like it's no big deal to make a trick on somebody and to do something that would be really mean and have something really bad happen to them. So the Bible story talks a little bit about how Esau was supposed to get the blessing, and he was the older, and he was hairier, so he was easy to identify for Isaac, who was almost losing his eyesight. And Rebekah found out that Esau was about to go get the blessing, and Esau went to go do something else, and Rebekah took that opportunity to get Jacob to put on hairy stuff on his arms so that it would look like he was, so it would seem like to his father, who was almost blind, that it would seem like Jacob was the one that should get the blessing. And it really is a very unfair trick. It's a very mean thing that Rebekah did, but it's what happens sometimes, that people sometimes get an idea in their head that they're going to do something else that's not the right thing to do. And so I want you to remember that just because you read it in the Bible, it doesn't mean it's the right way for things to happen. Sometimes things in the Bible happen the way human beings do them, but not necessarily the way God would want them to be. So this story today is one of those examples of a story that I think tells us something about humans and not necessarily as much about what God wishes would have happened. So in our prayer today, I'm going to encourage you to pray that even when you feel like pulling a trick on somebody, that you would know the right thing to do. Have a good day. Dear God, help us to know what is right, even when we want to pull a trick on someone. Amen.